What's going on, folks? Welcome to Stu's Garage, and today we went ahead, we snatched the LS motor out of the Mustang to go ahead and take a look and see what happened in there. This was not fun to do, but it wasn't as hard as putting it in because I did a lot of things to make it easier. And we'll talk about some of that stuff. Shout out to these two fellas, Team Super Paint, the new drift team that's going to be coming up for next season. But anyways, so we just unbolted the oil pan and we're going to crack that thing open and see how bad the carnage is. Alright, so far in the bottom of the oil pan, there's a lot of glitter down there. That's definitely not a good sign. As much stuff as you see down there. And then in the pickup tube, there's some kind of trash in there. I don't know what that is, but we're gonna pick that out and see. And I guess we're gonna take this windage tray off and see what we can find underneath there. Windage tray. Well, nothing jumps out at you.
Except for that snake. Alright, time to spin the engine.
Yeah, I guess we'll spin it. Really big?
It's gotta be on this side, actually.
Yeah. Alright, so we're spinning the motor over and we can't really see anything obvious. So that's pretty much where my expertise ends and where the machine shop expertise begins, because that's where this thing's going. So the next thing from here is basically to just strip the entire motor down, take all your timing stuff out, and send it to the machine shop and let the professionals handle it. I'll go down with it. Stop. Go back if you can. Nah, it's just water. Yeah, I can't see anything. Alright, so we looked at it a little bit closer and we can kind of hear the sound. So hold on a second. So that rocking is actually the rod knock, and we found that it's on this cylinder. So whatever cylinder this is like cylinder 4 or something. But just this tiny amount, you probably can't even see it moving. Yeah, there it is. That little bit of movement right there is enough to destroy this engine. So hopefully that's all there is. That's just a rod bearing. And we'll get all these bearings on this thing replaced, and the motor will be good as new after that. Alright, so I wasn't going to take it far, but since it's already broken, I don't think I can really hurt it anymore because it already needs to be rebuilt. So we're going to go ahead and take a peek inside. Alright, so I guess that's the bearing. Not really sure, I don't build engines, but I can definitely tell you that whatever is going on there is not normal. Alright, so I went and dug into it just a little bit more, and I went ahead and pushed the pistons out. I don't want to push them all the way out of the block just because it's not my thing. I don't want to go messing with this thing any more than what I should, and I've already gone further than what I should go. But I was curious. So I guess this piece here is the bearing, and this is what a bearing should look like. And if you look down there, you can kind of see it. There's two holes. Those holes are what the oil actually pushes out of. That's how you get oil pressure, or part of what causes oil pressure. So a bearing sits on one side and then the other bearing sits on the other side. It creates a half circle over here. So I'll just put the good bearing next to what came out of the other one. And when I pulled these apart, the two halves were actually inside of each other, kind of like this. So, you know, they had sandwiched in there and they had completely worn down, and that's what all that metal is inside of my oil pan I threw out the motor. And as you can see, these edges are completely eaten up. So I don't know if you would consider that a spun bearing. It's definitely broken though, and like I said, it's going to get all new bearings everywhere. Rod bearings, cam bearings, main bearings, all new seals, rear seal, front seal, and this thing is basically going to be a fresh rebuild. I may have to replace one of my rods. I can feel that the crank is scored right here. I don't know if I have to replace the crank or if they can put bearings in to compensate for that. But I'm not an engine builder, so I'll leave that all up to my engine builder to figure out. And that's why he gets paid the big bucks, and that's why I don't do that kind of stuff. Alright folks, so as you can see here, we've got the motor completely stripped down. We've taken every single thing off of it on the outside. One of the things that was pointed out to me is you see here this orange coloration, and that is the cam bearing. So obviously the cam bearings are worn. You can't really see it down in there, but if this one's worn, the rest of them are worn. And that is possibly what contributed to low oil pressure and oiling issues that basically caused a failure within the bearings down the bottom end. So you know, like I said, it's just one of those things that you get when you get a $300,000 motor and you throw it in a race car and start hammering on it worse than it's ever been driven in its life. But you know, you fix it, get yourself back on your feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and do what I said I wasn't gonna do on this channel anymore, which is address the haters. I know you guys, every time you Coyote guys see LS blow up, you go, oh yeah, these LSs, they blow up all the time. But you gotta understand, these things, you know, some of these engines are like 15 years old. So we pull these things out of the junkyards, we slap a cam on them and some heads and exhaust and throw a tune in it, and we drive these things harder than they've ever been driven ever in their lifetimes. You know, at the point where things would normally be breaking. And sometimes they continue to work and sometimes they blow up. In my case, my motor was about done for when I got it. I didn't do my due diligence and check to make sure that all the bearings were good. I just kind of crossed my fingers, I slapped it in there. So basically, you know, when you take a junkyard motor and you cross your fingers and you hope that it works, you know, and then it blows up, you can literally go get another motor. You know, the cheapest of the LSs come for $500. And you can slap that in, cross your fingers and do it again. Or you can get the thing rebuilt and have a fresh motor, which should last you. And to me, that's worth it. I could literally afford to do this 2 more times at least before I start to reach the cost of what a Coyote engine itself would have cost me. And you know, in my opinion, if I can go back and redo this whole motor swap before I ever started it, I would still go the same route. Even with the blown motor that I have to go and rebuild, because by the time I get this thing back, it's going to be better than it ever was. So you know, if you're one of these guys that saw a Coyote engine on eBay with 400,000 miles on it for $2,000, and you know, some right place is going to ship it halfway across the country to you for $1,000, and you think that that would have been a better option, you know, definitely go ahead and buy that beat motor and expect to drive it hard and see if it doesn't blow up on you. Or you can tell me about your stock Ford motor that makes 1,000 horsepower and has all of the Ford parts replaced on it with non-Ford parts. Or you could even tell me about how you got sponsored by Ford and they give you free Coyote motors, because I would totally rock a Coyote motor if Ford gave me one for free. If you want to tell me about how reliable an on-3 kit is, tell me about how reliable your on-3 kit is, you know, on your small block Ford, because honestly, I'd love to hear about it. Me personally, I just wanted an NA LS. I got the engine that I wanted. I broke it. I'm gonna fix it, and then I'm gonna send it. So that's pretty much it for this video. Coming up, you're gonna get to see me reassemble that motor. That's gonna be pretty cool, especially for the folks that don't know how a pushrod engine works or the internals of an engine. I just picked up a Canton AccuSump, so we're gonna go through the AccuSump install, which is very difficult video to find detailed information on. So that's coming up, and I don't know, I may go over, there's my exhaust over there, it's blown out. We're basically gonna gut those mufflers. So we got a few videos coming up, folks. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.